Right. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Winter City Council meeting for Monday, December 18th, 2023. This time, the City of Winter will implement roll call.
Councilman Clay.
Here.
Councilman Hockett.
Here.
Councilman Klunt.
Here.
Councilman Schramm.
Here.
Councilman Schuyler.
Present.
Councilman Sprinkle.
Here.
If you'd all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, having had time to review your packets, are there any conflict of interest in this evening's agenda? Hearing none, Chair will ask item number D, consent agenda. Council, do you have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second, that motion.
Floor is open to comment or question or point of information.
Because we're having technical difficulties, I apologize. The tattoo application, item number 2, is for Wyatt Bartlett at 225 South Main Street. The resignation is for Francis Ashes in the Corrections Department, resignation of John Farner in the Corrections Department, and the resignation of Logan Krieger in the Electric Department.
Council, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, the question to be called is to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it, this motion will carry. Having had time to review your packets, Council, is there a motion on tonight's full agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve.
Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second that.
Councilman Clay has made the motion to approve, Councilman Sprinkle with the second. Floor is open to comment or question, or point of information.
Mr. Mayor, it was determined that an item was left off the agenda. Spoke with Personnel Committee and City Attorney this morning about it, and it is a motion to approve the wage increase for 3 individuals in the law enforcement center. It's adding 25 cents per hour to their wages for removing the permanent shift grandfather clause, and each councilman was given that, and then once the motion is made, we can let the full public know what that is as well.
Adding item 16,
Yes.
that had been through committee.
It's
Okay.
just a formality.
Correct. All right. Council, any other comment or question on tonight's agenda? All right. Hearing none, the question at hand is approving the agenda as presented and adding item 16 to new business. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it, and this motion carries. City of Winter will now move on to recognition of visitors and communications. First item tonight from the City of Winter is recognition of employees of Winter for their years of service awards. 3 individuals have already taken them and ran off from corrections. I don't have the full list.
They'll be in your packet.
I have
You
it.
got it opened. Keep going.
Did you tap it twice and get it open?
I did get it open here, Jeremy.
Page 5.
Is there a list in the packet?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right there you
I
go.
have it right here, Chandra.
Everybody has it.
I apologize for the technical issues.
Oh, absolutely. I see it now, but we'll read it.
Thank you, Mr.
City of Winter employees, first of all, congratulations. It's not easy to work this long for the City of Winter, right? Chris? We do want to thank you for your dedication to the city of Winter and the residents of the city of Winter. I'd like all of us to take a moment to please join us in recognizing the following employees in council chambers here tonight for their years of service. The 2023 recipients, Casey Castanagwe, 5 years of service. Craig Krolikowski, 5 years of service. Warren Walking Eagle, 5 years of service. Chris Mays, 5 years of service. Kelly Duffy, 10 years of service. Jeff Augsburger, 10 years of service. And Clint Sinkular, 10 years of service. Do really seriously want to thank you all for the commitment to the city of Winter and again, the residents of the city of Winter. This wouldn't work without you guys. Thank you. I know Dan wants pictures of all of you, and then we will take a moment to have some cake and drinks if you'd like. If the individuals that are here would like to meet us in the back of the room, we'd like to get your paper or picture in the Winter Advocate, please.
Didn't I see Jeff Augsburger on that name?
I took the photo with two staff in the back on duty for staying.
If you'd all like to please start on the cake, or go ahead.
Chris, are those your dress pliers you brought with you?
Just have. Come on. Yep, no problem. Dan copied that. You'll leave me in there.
Bradley.
Very proud of you. And then hunker down.
That screen is so touchy. You pull it up,
Chelsea, get in there.
it like disappears on me.
Don't say that, because I have not ate.
Well, don't go smell my office.
Want to leave the diabetics for you. Yeah, I want to leave that for you, yeah.
Well, my sensor thing ran out this morning.
No, good.
So I didn't have
We're gonna
it.
make Sandra eat it.
And so I had to
No,
go.
please do not, I can't.
I can't either.
So I'll start working.
Then keep it there so it's like.
Yeah, mine takes
All
an
right.
hour.
Yep,
Paul's gonna have two.
but here it told me I lost signal, there was no reason for that.
I mean, I
Just touch it. I just shut it off. You're gonna break the rules.
I don't.
When Dustin got married to Lisa, he already had Chase with Shelby Shipping. And Chase was at the wedding. And we were talking about something. Chase says, first we have church, then we get cake. He was a little, first we got church, then we get cake. He was born in '96, so they got married, so he was 4.
Okay. That's awesome.
First we have church, then we get cake.
Thank you.
You ready, Jeremy?
He's never ready.
Next item, under recognition of visitors and communications. City of Winter makes a 10-minute window available for anybody from the public to address the city council. It is a 10-minute window available for one speaker or many speakers. If one is representing a group, they can have the allotted time. Individuals have 2 minutes individually. Is there any public input? Hearing and seeing none. The City of Winter will move on to item number 3, fuel bids. This report will come from the Finance Office.
Fuel bids for the previous 2 weeks, which would be December 6th and December 13th. On December 6th, number 2 diesel, Schaefer. Number 1 diesel, Schaefer. 50/50, Schaefer. Regular unleaded gasoline, Schaefer. Propane, CHS. Fuel oil, Schaefer. For 12/13, fuel bids were number 2 diesel, Schaefer, number 1 diesel, Schaefer, 50/50, Schaefer, regular unleaded, Schaefer, propane, CHS, fuel oil, Schaefer.
Our next report and communication from the City of Winter are new hires. That comes from the Human HR Department, Human Resources.
There were no new hires for the previous 2 weeks.
This will conclude recognition of visitors and communications. We will now move on to department reports. First department report tonight is from Public Safety Commissioner Justin Day.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We will go ahead and start with the 911 PSAP. Over 1,900 calls were entered into the computer-aided dispatch for this month. Of that, 674 of those were 911 calls, and then just a little over 3,300 for administrative calls. We are still accepting applications for open positions. We got a few leads. We're just kind of following up on those and then hoping those will turn into interviews, and those interviews will turn into hires. Next page, you will see the monthly activity for the PSAP as a whole. There were 1,952 calls in there for calls to service with all the different agencies. Next page will be just for the Winter Police Department. As is pretty usual for this time of year, our call volume has gone down kind of during this time. We had 378 calls to service from November 20th through December 17th. Switching over to the Winter Police Department, Feeding South Dakota was held at the fairgrounds on Friday, December 1st. That was a little chaotic at first, but we ended up getting her straightened out, and then everybody kind of remembered what we do every time, and then it went a little smoother. So the next one will be January 5th, and that too will be down at the fairgrounds. Officer Fitzgerald, he is in week 4 up at LET. Seems to be enjoying it. And then our new officer, Officer Foster, started at the PD on the 1st of December, and he is now in his 3rd week of FTO, or field training. Over to corrections. Our inmate count today is 159. The month average is 161, and our year average is 161. For jail activity, there have been 136 inmates processed in, and then 147 processed out, and then we had a total of 67 movements for that month period. We also had 3 different provider visits over that month, and 27 inmates were seen, and then the last month we also had 14 mental health visits. For the month of November, you will see billing prisoner days was just right a little bit over 392,000, and then our transports were just over 11,000. And then Lieutenant, or Medical Lieutenant Rehack held a CPR certification class on December 1st and the 8th, and then of those, 5 were corrections staff and 3 from the police department were certified during those classes. And then with the 2 resignations that we accepted tonight, we will be advertising for those positions, and we will have 2 full-time and 2 part-time for that. Is there any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Day.
Thank you.
Our next department report comes from Code Enforcement Officer Chelsea Lewis.
You can go if you want. Good evening. Just a couple things for you. I'm going to start off first with the hand straw because we love talking about it. Once you guys have officially canvassed the election results tonight, Attorney Jensen and I are working on a letter to send out to those that are not still in violation, explaining that that ordinance was changed and that those courtesy notices received are now void. And there does not need to be an abatement of that code. We do still have possibly 3 that were within those that were sent out, that'll still be violations, so we'll be drafting a different letter for those 3 once we've done some checking, and like I said, once everything's been canvassed. The other thing, I was told that you guys are looking for building permits, so I handed out, just set on the desk there, the building permits for the entire year. I'll start submitting these monthly next year. So if you guys have any questions on those, be happy to answer.
Seen one that doesn't have an address.
On the first page? Yep, and must have just been a report error, but that is at Liberty and Iowa, the intersection of Liberty and Iowa Street.
Council, any questions?
Okay,
Thank you.
sorry, Troy.
Our next department report is from Public Works Director Troy Kruger.
Thank you, Chelsea. I'll get started with water and sewer. Relined, we had a bad sewer main between, west of Lamro between 3rd and 4th. Fixed fence around the blue tank. We had an accident. We're not sure what happened. Somebody ran into our fence. We did another discharge out at the lagoons. Should get us through until spring. We had a pump seal in the main lift station go out, so the guys had that fixed. Highway project punch list is down to 2 curb boxes and a manhole. Monthly water readings and samples. They got the Vector truck out. They vacuumed out the pits for the DOT, the fire hall, the recycle center, and the porta potties out at the airport. Installed radios and replaced depleted meter heads. They're at about 635 at the end of the day. And they've started kind of working hand in hand where we've got enough free people now. They're getting in about anywhere between 25 and 30 a day of those radios and meters. A lot of it's we're having to get back in the homes because the meter heads are dead, so it's a little more time consuming, but they're getting them in at a pretty good pace. Streets and sanitation, alleyway work, service work on city vehicles. We had a new concrete steps put in at McDonald's Park this summer, and Travis was working on welding up a railing for that. We also had a railing out at the transfer station that we wanted to get replaced. Now that we have the transfer station, that falls under sanitation, so we do get inspected on that by the state, DENR, so we're making sure that everything's in safety-wise is ready to go out there. Inventory, they did some landfill maintenance. We had the signs on the highway project. I think I saw something on Facebook that the DOT actually said that the project is completed. So pretty much everything on that project is done. And Kelly and I went around and did our annual inspection of streets to come up with a project for this year, worked on inventory. With that being said, we're looking at one of the first meetings in January, and I've invited DGR to come to Winter. I think everybody remembers that we had about $30,000 budgeted for 2023 in the electrical department to do a study of our electrical system and recommendations from DGR on where we should go forward with our electrical system as far as going underground, identifying areas where we think the city of Winter might grow and our needs there to provide people with an electrical utility. So that, and then Jake and I spent a couple of days on city streets, and he's going to come along, and so we'll probably have like an hour at the end of one of those meetings where we'll do a question and answer session, and along with that, we're also going to include some streets projects. We have money budgeted this year for chip sealing. We're going to do some crack sealing. I think on the chip sealing side, there is a community chip seal program, and that was presented by Bros Engineering, came in. It sounds like, I'm working on some numbers with him, but it sounds like it could be a pretty good savings to the city of Winter. They take a bunch of communities and they take all their needs, what they want to get done for chip sealing, they put them all in one big bid to get a better price for everybody. And then, so I'm providing them with the amount of chip sealing that we're looking at doing this year, and then they're going to get back to me on some pricing on that. And just streets in general, we're looking at some different streets to do this year. We obviously have streets that are on a high priority, and we still have a number of those streets. We have some projects that I know the community and the council have asked about, so I asked Jacob to kind of get some engineer estimates on some of those projects so we can bring that to to that meeting and talk about some of those projects a little bit. I don't want to get too far in depth with that, but there's some areas around town, Monroe Street being one of them, Britton Addition, East 13th Street. There's quite a few areas in town that I just asked him to get some information for us, get us some engineer's estimate on what it would cost to do those streets so that we can look at all of our projects here in the next 15 to 20 days before we go to bid on this stuff and come up with a project that get our best bang for our buck out of a project altogether. We also have some curb and gutter that we're gonna that I've got him looking at to throw that in the project. So we'll have more on that here in the near future. Parks and Cemetery, leaves in the cemetery and the parks, the hockey rink's coming together. Those guys have finished painting that up. We're kind of putting the pieces together to see how that's gonna come together. They tore down an old fence at the city park. It was falling apart, so they're tearing that down and replacing it. Hauled some agri-lime to the fields to get that done before spring. So if we have another winter like we had before in baseball, as soon as it's thawed, baseball's ready to go. We're kind of ready to go for baseball. And then just everybody's getting their winter equipment ready, getting all the blades on and the sanders and all that good stuff. Light department, they changed, they did a pretty large section of 7th Street where we had some bad poles. They've got those all changed out now. We had different power outages at different times in the last couple of weeks to get that job done. And they're going daily right now. Their main priority is meters. They've got close to 1,000 meters deployed now, so. Electrical department, Ray installed some outlet out at the transfer station for 220, 240 outlet out there, installed some new lights above our baler for safety reasons, again, for that audit that may or may not happen here in the near future. He's been working on the meters also. We've had some broken meters around town that he's going around and fixing those, rewiring those. Fire hall had a bad light on it, and I think it was a photo eye. Programming meters, and then he switched out some old lights in the north shop, put in some LEDs. Any questions? Thank you.
Our final report tonight comes from the Finance Officer, Chandra Phillips.
Quite a few things have been happening over the last couple weeks. Working on end of year, we had quite a few invoices still turned in for the second meeting, over $200,000 worth. So we were working down till 4:30 and finally said, enough's enough, we can't pay everything now. So people were still turning in invoices the day of that, and unfortunately, we had to follow our timelines on there. So I think we're done with, we have one more payroll, and then we have one more postage check to write for the bills that'll go out on December 30th. So we do have those coming in, and we are working on getting the revenues posted. So then, once we get our revenues posted, which will be sooner than usual, usually you don't see all the revenues posted till the 15th of the next month. We are going to try to get as many of those posted as possible before the end of the year so that we can determine if we do or do not need that special meeting on the 28th. So we'll be working on that this week so that we can let you all know by Tuesday the 26th if we need it or not. And that'll be after review with myself and the mayor once everything's posted. We had an election last week, so that took up a full 14 hours. On that note, you asked me how much the election cost. The special election final bill, $754.71. Of that, $600 was to pay the election workers. We had 16% of our registered voters show up to the election, which we'll talk about a little bit more when we canvass the election, but nobody won. I think the closest was the mayor on how many people would come to vote, and I think that we had a wonderful turnout considering it was December, everyone's busy, there was a sports game, so I'm very appreciative to everyone who came out and voted and took the time, and the ladies here said that it was a great day too, that we're doing the election. Adam from River Bottom Sanitation reached out today and asked that we post on our city Facebook page and just relay the information. They will be picking up garbage Monday, Christmas Day, and Monday, New Year's Day. Our contract does say that they get to set their own schedules. That is his plan with his employees, that they will pick up on those days. So we had already started getting questions in the office when to put your totes out. That is what he has referred back to us. We are working on all the new meter upload information that as Public Works puts in the new meters, Brandy then has to go in and get that information into our billing system, verify that everything is reading correctly, and so that takes a little bit of time for each one of those meters. She has a little card that she reviews, make sure it matches up, and so that's going pretty well. Working on a couple of different grants, the sanitation grant, which was mentioned here, and then another possible grant that we're just working on getting the information for within the electric department. The other thing that was mentioned is read-back meters. So I believe Mr. Kruger brought this up last meeting, and I'll kind of touch on it a little bit from our standpoint too. So the electric department has purchased some read-back meters for anyone who has solar. We currently have 3 customers who have solar in the city of Winter, and as soon as we have been taught how to read that read back, then we will reach out to our software system and work on getting that information so that we can pay it out. So the way that works, in all reality, MRES is purchasing it from the customer, but it goes through the city of Winter. So what they purchase, the amount that they purchase will actually come off of our monthly bill that we get from MRES, and then we will give that money as a credit onto that customer's account. It is set at 3 cents per kWh. That's how much they're willing to pay back. However, there is a deduction in there as well for any losses that we have in our electric department, which DGR and Kurt have come up with. So it won't be an exact 3 cents, but it'll be close to that. The first time we plan on seeing this is for January's readings, which would be in March's bill. That is our goal, to have this ready for when we bill out the end of February, providing everything works correctly. So just wanted to get that information out to the public as well. HR has got a first visit for an internship day at USD. So that's a little bit limited on what does qualify that we could reach out to at USD. But we do have some potential openings throughout the city that could qualify for some criminal justice or attorney work or business management, different things like that. So the HR director and I believe the public safety commissioner, and I'm not sure if anyone else is planning to attend, but they will go to that on December 17th. And then finally, for council's information, at the end of each year, we send out a letter to everyone that requested donations out of the 2024 budget. They get a letter at the end of this year asking them to set up a time to come in 2024 at a council meeting and formally ask for that money. So you will be seeing over the next few meetings, folks coming in and officially requesting that money from you. So don't be surprised when you start seeing some new names on the agenda again. I think that's it. Oh, sorry, just kidding. One final thing. On your items, I think it's 2 and 3 under new business. On the final page of your bid opening, which the mayor will read when we do bid openings, if you would word your motions according to how it's read here, you would actually only need one motion for both of them since the bid openings were at the same time. So, and that's fine, correct, Mr. Jensen, just to make the one motion to award it all? Okay. I believe I laid it on here. It's not here.
Okay. That does conclude department reports. City of Winter will now move on to bid openings. This afternoon at 1 p.m., we had bid openings for bulk fuel and propane in the Finance Committee. Present were Councilman Schramm, Public Works Director Troy Kruger, and the Finance Officer Chandra Phillips. First bid opening was for number 1 dyed diesel. 3 bids were received, and this is just for the delivery of such items. Volun Oil had a bid of .292 cents, Schaefer 30 cents, CHS 37 cents. For number 2 dyed diesel, 3 bids were received. Upon opening them, Volun Oil had a price of .292 cents, Schaefer 0.3 cents or 30 cents, and CHS 35 cents. For heating fuel oil, 3 bids were received. Volun Oil's bid was .292 cents, Schaefer's was 30 cents, CHS submitted a bid of 25 cents. 50/50 diesel blend, 3 bids were received. Volun Oil at .292 cents, Schaefer at .30 cents, CHS, there was no bid received, 2 bids received. For E87 gasoline, no ethanol, 3 bids were received. Volun Oil submitted a bid of 30 cents,
It includes this 30-cent tax.
including the 30-cent tax, at .592 cents. Schaefer came in at .22 cents. CHS at .35 cents.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
those are not .3 cents.
30 cents
It's
per,
$0.3. Okay?
$0.3?
Because, yeah,
Well, that's
30 cents.
.3 of a dollar is 30 cents.
But you're telling us that Volun Oil bid .292 cents. That's not correct. It's 29.2 cents,
Okay,
okay? Because that'd really be cheap if we got fuel for .29 cents.
and this is per gallon? Yeah. Would you like those all rephrased?
No, I just want to point out that
Okay.
it's not .29 cents. It's $0.29.
$0.29. I see what you're saying. Understand. And that does
Okay.
make sense. Yep. So I can go back through those if you'd like, or if
You don't
council
need
is
to, just
comfortable with
everybody needs to
that.
understand, we're not buying it for 3 cents.
I'm an old guy, and I knew that was 29 cents.
Okay. Very good. Understood and duly noted. The other bid that was received today was on propane, and this bid was from January 1st through April 30th, and this is a per gallon price. Volun Oil submitted a price of $1.38.5 per gallon. Schaefer Oil submitted a bid of $1.50 per gallon. CHS also bid. Their price came in at $1.35 per gallon. That's on page 2 for those of you that have that in the packet at the top. CHS's bid is at the top of page 2 for the propane, just so you know that. It would be the recommendation, okay, that's for the
But you can read
the
that.
motion, sure. After the bid opening, it was the recommendation to award the dyed diesel and 50/50 blend of Volun Oil at 29.2 cents delivery, award the heating fuel at 25 cents delivery, and propane at $1.35 per gallon to CHS, and award the E87 gasoline with no ethanol to Schaefer at 22 cents delivery. It was a big bid opening. So, that being said, that concludes bid openings for the city of Winter. There are no public hearings this evening. There's no Board of Adjustments for this evening. Under old business,
I have questions.
Councilman Clay, go ahead.
So, you're saying it's delivery, the very last line, 22 cents delivery.
That is correct.
Per gallon, per mile, what delivery?
I
Per
believe
gallon?
it's per gallon, yeah.
The state sets the price of the fuel,
Yeah, I gathered that.
and all they bid on was what they're gonna charge us to deliver it. That's all they bid on.
A wheeling charge, basically. That's
Yes.
their markup.
That's a fair.
They're not getting
definition.
paid mileage or anything, it's just a wheeling charge.
That's a fair
what they're
definition.
bidding, how much markup they're gonna take. Okay, delivery was weird verbiage, but I
So by,
understand.
by them bidding this, are they bound to always deliver at the
State
state
bid,
price?
that is
Yes.
correct.
They are.
Yes.
So they can't say no.
That was on the bid specification. When they bid that, it's on the understanding they're bidding based upon the state bid applicable at that day that they're going to be delivering. And then what they bid was the amount of delivery or surcharge, however you want to call
Yeah,
it.
whatever you
on
wanna
top.
call
That makes a lot more sense to me.
Because the state at any time, I understand, anytime they want to, they can say, here's what we're gonna pay for fuel. Okay?
Once a day.
And they have to honor that.
If-
And then then the taxes and the delivery fee is what these guys bid on, the delivery fee. Okay?
That is correct.
Now, each bidder can miss a delivery date once. On the second time, then they don't get to have the bid for the rest of the year. So you get one strike. On your second strike, you're out.
That was part of the new policy that
Correct.
council
That's what
passed
they bid
recently.
on. Yep, that's correct.
Non-performance
Correct.
at that point.
And how much time do they have to deliver once ordered?
We're on a keep full basis.
Oh, keep full.
Yep,
I'm sorry?
we're on a keep full basis, so we should never run out. Keep full,
Should never have to order it.
correct.
Correct.
Understand.
That was a very good question, very good explanation. Okay, so we do move on to old business. This evening, there are 4 items for consideration by council under old business. At this time, is there a motion on item number 1?
Mr. Mayor, can we make a motion for the first 3 items all, since they're all the same?
You can.
Yes, you
I'd
can.
make a motion that we approve the Jones County, the Bennett County, and the Todd County addendum to the jail contracts and have the mayor sign them.
Very good. Is there a second to this motion? Councilman Hockett. Councilman Schramm has made a motion to approve the addendum, Jones County addendum, Bennett County addendum, and Todd County addendum to the jail contract and have the mayor sign. That's items 1, 2, and 3. That motion has been seconded by Councilman Hockett. Floor is open to comment or question.
Is this just the normal CPI raise? Is that what we're talking about?
That's exactly what's included this time around is we've now included CPI on the guard hours. That's the change that was made.
Did I see another question? Maybe? Okay. Hearing none, Chair will call the question, which is to approve the Jones County addendum, Bennett County addendum, Todd County addendum to the jail contract and have the mayor sign. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is roll call. It's right in front of me and I missed it. The question is that by roll call. Councilman Klunt.
Yes.
Councilman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle.
Yes.
Councilman Schuyler.
Aye.
Councilman Clay.
Yes.
And Councilman Schramm.
Aye.
The ayes have it, and this motion carries. Item number 4, council, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to second reading for passage and approval of ordinance number 1069, a 2023 supplemental budget for airport and 24/7.
Is there a second to this motion? Councilman Schuyler with the motion, Councilman Klunt with the second. Floor is open to comment or questions. Or point of information, if there is any.
Nothing's changed since first reading. It's just simply airport overspent due to several things that happened. Number 1, snow plowing. Number 2, a motor went out. Number 3, propane. So due to those 3 things on a $44,000 budget, they needed a little more money. And they had the cash to approve it. 24/7 fund is based on the fact that they did not receive all the revenues as projected, and their expenses have exceeded their revenues. So they needed to use cash.
All right. We'll do a roll call on the question, which is placing on second reading for passage and approval ordinance 1069, a 2023 budget, supplemental budget for the airport and 24/7. Councilman Hockett?
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle?
Yes.
Councilman Schuyler?
Aye.
Councilman Clay?
Yes.
Councilman Schramm?
Aye.
And Councilman Klunt?
Yes.
The ayes have it, and this motion carries. That concludes old business. New business tonight, there are now 16 items for consideration. Item number 1, council, do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to first canvass the December 12th, 2023 city special election results and to accept the results and sign certification document.
I'll second that.
Councilman Klunt with the motion, Councilman Schuyler with the second. Floor is open for comment or question. Hearing none, or point of information. I have the motion first.
Sure.
before you do that.
You what?
Before I look at it.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh, sorry. I thought you already did.
Hearing none, the motion is to canvass the December 12th, 2023 city special election result and to accept the results and sign the certification document. All those in favor, please say aye.
aye.
All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it, this motion carries. Council, you may canvass the results.
Technically, they're supposed to canvass it before they accepted it.
This is to open it up and canvass it. There should be two.
Seeing the results, we agreed to.
You did. Next time we can make it two separate motions. I apologize.
It is strange, you should make a motion to canvass and then
have a
after,
different motion to
to accept the results, yes.
We can do that differently. What you have in front of you is what the board certified, the election board certified that the results were, and also the book that has everyone who voted in it. Everyone always thinks that we mark down how people voted. We have no idea how people voted.
Oh, it shows
It's,
Don't say that.
so,
Absolutely
it is
not.
just who came in and voted. All
301.
301 names, yes. There we go.
I was looking at the 301st page.
Yeah,
Didn't the list used to tell us who voted though?
that's what that is, it's telling you who voted.
Voter list
Yep.
is what he would have that, yes.
This is the book that they officially use that it has all of the registered voters in it, and then
Okay.
they mark down who came in. You can look at this too, that's not a
No,
problem.
I was just
but-
wondering.
Yep, so that just has all registered voters, including 2 out at the airport that
Send that to
the county didn't have registered, and now they are. They had them registered, just not in the city limits. That's how we should work that.
What's A mean? Absentee?
Yes. We had a few absentee votes, yes.
There was a A here on number 72. I thought it meant something else.
Oh, well,
I didn't already tell you number 72.
my board is very professional.
We're not giving
so-
opinions on the voters.
I was just asking.
If you know somebody's on that list that died before the election, then you should bring it up.
Oh, really?
I did watch everyone walk
That's the purpose
in,
for this.
so.
What if we voted out?
I don't know how we would handle that, so let's not get into that.
You would call me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I can't.
Oh, heavens, no, thank you. It's all yours.
I need some sugar, I'm starting to dip.
Well, you better keep that.
Getting shaky.
All excited all of a sudden. I don't know why.
Wow, you do that pretty good,
Quite well.
like a waitress, like you have experience.
Paul, I did do 2 tours in Crankin when I was in the Navy.
Oh, did you?
Cranking what?
That's what they call it when you take your turn working in the gallery.
In the galley.
Gallery.
Picked up a lot of good habits there, picking.
Little shit. You make me print this whole thing, and then you think I should give you one of these pieces? What a guppy.
Mr. Schramm's going to circulate his page that he printed out for all of you to sign as you've canvassed, please. We appreciate you, Mr. Schramm.
I was wondering,
You want a refund?
this is the first time we've been signing.
A refund.
This is,
I want an addition to my $600.
the last time all 6 council members signed it would have been when the two-way Main Street was referred. Otherwise, you don't all sign them because some of you are typically on the who got elected. So you can't canvass your own election, so to speak. You don't sign. Sorry.
No, the two-way was put to a referendum in first for that last
So
time.
why wouldn't all 6 sign that?
You did. That was the
You
last
did,
time
that's
all
the
6
last
of you
time we
signed.
signed it.
Yeah. There were over 600 voters at that turnout. But we had a school board election, we had a mayor election, and a Ward 1 election, as well as that
And that was the
referendum.
one when they said leave it one way.
Yes, yep. Yep.
Slowed us down for a year, didn't it?
Yep.
But that's okay, because the Department of Transportation took 3 or 4 years before they got there.
I never could find the name on there I was looking for.
Maybe. Maybe
I don't know
not.
which name you're looking for.
Her name was-
I didn't,
You weren't number 70-something?
no.
Oh.
Somebody
Oh.
else, 72 with an A behind their
That
name.
would have been the guy to your left.
I gotcha.
I was number 2.
72,
70.
Did I see what?
I was number 2.
in the book it's 72.
Yeah, they count the absentees.
Oh, all the registered voters? No, I didn't see that. Thank you.
Thank you. Perfect, thanks. Mr. Schramm,
That's a book
I
of the
thank
registered
you.
voters in the city?
Yes.
Let me see that for a second, I'm just
The
curious.
very, very last page actually tells you how many registered voters there are in the city of Winter, too. So it says 1,885, and then you add the 2 at the top that
That's
the
not what
county
my
gave us.
question is.
1,887.
Thank you, I felt like it got
did.
hijacked over
That way.
there.
I
Over
know.
there, after I requested to look at it, it looked like, it seemed like it got hijacked.
Shannon,
Yes, sir.
has the city ever had a recount?
In the 8 years that I've been here, no. There has been, but not since I've been in charge of the
past.
election.
Yeah, I just didn't know that. Yeah.
It has been requested in the past and it has been denied in the past because it was out of, within tolerance or whatever.
Right.
Out
It
of
was-
the 5% or whatever. it was.
Yeah, it was outside of that. It was requested and denied. That wasn't that long ago.
Interesting.
There was a very close one just a couple years ago, like 1-person difference, but it did not get recalled. The other person.
Well, I don't know why you
did not.
would, you had 107 votes to count, how can you possibly make a mistake on that? Counted them 3 times, came up the same way every time. Why would you ask for a recount on that?
I agree, but a lot of people
But there
would.
was a right.
Sometimes common sense does work.
Well, yeah, just not in the law. I have to admit it, Brad.
Yep.
I was under the impression when you got your driver's license, you could check a box and it would automatically register you to vote.
You have to still fill out a form, so they'll give you the form if they see you check mark that box. It does not automatically register you.
All right, we have a motion to canvass The motion was to accept the results. We'll move on to item number 2, council. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to award the winter propane bid to CHS at $1.35 and have the mayor sign it.
Is there a second to this motion?
Second.
Councilman Schramm has made the motion, Councilman Hockett with the second. Floor is open to comment or question.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make the comment that for the propane, I think we should have that be an annual bid. In talking to one of the suppliers, yes, they can bid it for a whole year. They can contract the price for a whole year, and it'll be honored for a whole year by the suppliers as well as the distributor. So we would only have to do this once a year on the propane bid.
It's good information.
Unless it behooves us.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if the price typically goes down in the fall. I don't think it does.
That's
I don't
why,
know. I don't-
yeah.
Best time, I think, was, they said September or August to put this out to bid.
That's what the new policy says, yeah.
Oh.
Right,
So we could let it to bid at the best time.
right.
Yeah.
So this one
We
is,
can bid it for a whole year
Yeah,
instead of.
and then they lock it, they
Then
contract.
it'd be
I
locked.
understand that, we contract things.
Yeah.
But I was just saying, in January, if that's not the best time to let it, but it's, you can choose when you bid it for 12 months.
This next time, we'll bid it in August, the end of August, and it'll be bid through the month of April, from September 1 through April, I believe.
Correct, because at the time that we went out for bid, or when we produced the notice for bid, Mr. Jensen was given advice from a supplier that said, you're only going to get 2 different suppliers. You're only going to get 6 months out of people. You're not going to get 12, so.
They were they were cautioning me about full-year bids because of some of the wild fluctuation that we have seen, and that most of them do their contracting for the fall through the winter. And so that's when both of those will be the same months.
I don't claim to be an expert on it.
Well, and I don't either. I'm certainly willing to come back and revisit it next year and see if, you know, if that was, the information needs to be updated, we'll sure come back to council with an update to that policy.
That's when the suppliers lock their prices in.
Yeah.
At the next level, so to do it, I like the whole year, but I don't think it's very advantageous to us.
I
Yeah.
don't either, I think it would be
That's when they pre-buy their propane, they lock their prices in. That's why us as consumers get the fall letter that locks your propane in for a year. That's when all that is generated.
Yep.
Propane's cheaper in the summer than it is in the fall and winter.
Typically.
That's why we don't want it to be contracted through the summer, right?
And when this is done as of April 30th, we will do the same process we're doing now. Right now, it's weekly, but we will do it monthly for propane. So every month on the 30th, 31st, May, June, July, and August, we will have them submit via email back to us what their monthly propane bid will be.
Yeah.
Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, Chair will call the question by a roll call vote. The question is to award the winter propane bid to CHS at $1.35 per gallon and have the mayor sign. Councilman Sprinkle,
Yes.
Councilman Schuyler,
Aye.
Councilman Clay,
Yes.
Councilman Schramm,
Aye.
Councilman Clunt,
Yes.
and Councilman Hockett.
Aye.
The ayes have it, and this motion will carry. Item number 3, council, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to award the 2024 bulk fuel bid to Olive Oil and have the mayor sign.
Mr. Mayor, can I
Yes, you can interject point of information.
flip over to the next page?
Oh, that's what she said.
If you want to go back and remake your motion, you can do all except for propane under this motion.
Dyed diesel, the 50/50 blend, Volun oil, and the heating fuel separate?
Yeah.
Says that in-
It can all be one motion.
Heating fuel and propane to CHS. Award E87 to Schaefer.
Is there a second to this motion?
Y'all second
No,
that.
didn't we just award,
I don't know. That's just,
who'd we award the winter propane bid to already?
CHS.
Okay, then we don't have to do it again.
I agree, but
it's not that it's not confusing. I mean, it's highlighted here, but
at the end, is there a second to the motion with the deletion of the second propane at $1.35 per
I'll
gallon?
second that if I hadn't previously.
All right. Councilman Clunt with the motion, Councilman Clay with the second. Floor is open to comment or questions.
Yeah, could Councilman Clunt read that list one more time for the public? No, I'm joking.
Now that we know what it looks like,
See attached.
where I didn't know what they were going to look like or how individuals were going to bid on Friday when your agenda was prepared. So it was hard to determine how to put this out there for you. So now that we know what it'll be like next year, this will be hopefully easier.
Hope so.
Smoother.
Let's hope so.
Smoother. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, Chair will call the question by a roll call vote. The question is to award the 2024 bulk fuel bids, specifically award the dyed diesel and 50/50 blend of Volun oil at 29.2 cents per gallon delivery. Award the heating fuel at 25 cents per gallon delivery to CHS, and award the E87 gasoline, no ethanol, to Schaefer at 22 cents per gallon delivery, and have the mayor sign it. Councilman Schuyler.
Aye.
Councilman Clay.
Yes.
Councilman Schramm.
Aye.
Councilman Clunt.
Yes.
Councilman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle.
Yes.
Ayes have it, and this motion carries. Item number 4, council, do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve first reading of ordinance 1070 recreational trailers.
Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Clunt has the motion, Councilman Schramm the second. Council, the floor is open to comments or questions or point of information.
Mr. Mayor, if I
Mr. Jensen, please.
Thank you. I want council to know that when this first started in the form of a discussion down at the committee level, it was requested that we refer this to the planning commission to get their input. Since this actually falls in a section of the ordinances that is in the zoning area. And so we did take that, Chelsea took it to the planning commission, and what you see here in yellow is really the result of what their recommendations are. There had been some discussion about a longer period of time. They really want to keep it to up to 72 hours without any real process at all. If they're going to be up to 14 days, they would come in and register, get a permit. Costs the same as getting like a building permit for $25. If it's going to be more than 2 weeks, they ought to go out to a campsite. That was the recommendation of the planning commission. So that's the way it was written that way.
Council, any questions? Hearing none, Chair is calling the question of placing on first reading ordinance 1070 recreational trailers. All in favor of placing on first reading, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it, and this motion carries. Item number 5, council, do you have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to put on first reading ordinance number 1071, cats and dogs.
Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second that.
Councilman Schramm has the motion, Councilman Clunt with the second. The floor is open to comments or questions from council. Point of information from City Attorney Mr. Jensen first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For council's reference, we didn't really change anything with regard to the enforcement on dogs other than to adjust the monetary part of it so that when a dog is picked up, or if it's a stray cat that's also causing a nuisance, those situations are going to be a civil penalty of $50 if they are written for that. There is a daily fee for care as long as they are maintained in our pound for $20 per day. So those would be imposed. It also provides for the possibility if, with regard to cats, if the police department is going to have a list of area farmers that have barn cats that would love to have another 1 or 2 or 3, and we'll be able to, after we pick them up, if we don't have any room to house them, or if we can only house them for a day or 2, then after that, if nobody claims them, then they'll be able to be released in those situations. Otherwise, down to the rescue down in Gregory. So those are the options.
So if these dog or cats are picked up under a county charge and they're indigents, does the county pay that fee then?
Nice idea. Hadn't thought of it that way. I'm not sure the county would agree to it, so I'll probably just forego any more comment.
Just
on
asking.
that.
Any other comments
Just a question.
or questions? Hearing none, Chair will call the question, which is placing on first reading ordinance 1071, an ordinance regarding cats and dogs. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it, and this motion carries. Item 6, council, do you have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion that we not take any action to amend section 31.36 of the Winter Code of Ordinances.
Read your motion again, please.
Make a motion that we not take action to amend section 31.36 of the Winter Code of Ordinances.
So is that a table or denying
Nope,
it?
that he's got a motion.
Okay.
Is there a second to this motion?
Mr. Schramm, I wonder if you would allow me to suggest
You bet.
a wording change, just so that it's clear. Your motion would also be a motion to defeat or take away the
Well, because you
submission of,
currently don't have an ordinance 1072.
but you have an ordinance 1072 on the record in front of you. And I'm looking for a motion that says no.
Okay, then I didn't realize that it's not an ordinance until we vote it to be an
You're correct.
ordinance, is that correct?
You're correct.
Okay, and I don't want to table it because I don't want to bring it up again at the next meeting.
Okay.
So.
I'll withdraw my comment.
Pardon me?
I'll withdraw my comment.
So you're denying it?
Pardon me?
You're denying it?
To deny the acceptance of ordinance 1072?
To deny first reading of
Okay,
ordinance.
if that's what it needs to say, that's what I want to say.
That's what I want to say.
Okay, yep. very
I
good.
want it on
Okay.
the record what it is that got denied.
Okay,
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it. I don't know what the darn's going on.
Floor is open to comment. Floor is open to comment or question Brad, you're the motioner.
Okay, first off, I'm more confused than anybody in the room, but it's not an ordinance until we vote it in as an ordinance. That's my understanding. 1072 does not exist, which is why I referred back to the ordinance, or the section of the code that we want to change is 31.36. Okay, so it is my opinion that we all ran for this council knowing that we were going to get paid $600 a month, knowing that we were going to attend committee meetings and council meetings. We amended it a few years ago to then make it so that while most of our council people were diligent about attending meetings and like I think they should, some took advantage of the fact that, well, if I don't get to go to the meeting, I still get $600. What this amendment would do would put us back in that same position, that if I don't want to come to a meeting, I don't have to, and I'll still get the same pay as somebody that doesn't miss any meetings. And that's what I think needs to be addressed in this. The way we have it set up now, if you don't want to do the job that you were elected to do, that's your prerogative. But if you want to get $600 for not working like you were elected to work, then you need to attend all those meetings. This amendment allows us to miss all the meetings we want to miss and still get paid $600, and you're not doing your job to the people that elected you. So that's why I encourage you to vote not to accept this 1072 ordinance, however that's supposed to be worded.
Councilman Clay.
Well, that's not exactly correct what it's saying, Brad. No, it's not saying that you can miss all the meetings that you want to miss. It's saying you can miss 2 meetings, the first 2 meetings you can miss your committee meetings of the first 2 weeks of the month during January to whatever,
Yep.
and then here to there. I'm just saying you miss both, just a touch.
Okay.
That's all, my point.
But Brad is correct, in that when you miss those meetings, you're still gonna get paid
Correct.
for them, and that's what he
Correct.
said.
Because the first 2 are optional per.
I think council needs to also understand one other thing. Under the way the ordinance currently is written, if the situation arises that there's a timesheet or, the sign-up sheet in front of the finance officer that clarifies and verifies that somebody missed a particular committee meeting on whether it's the first 2 weeks or the second 2 weeks, I'm going to advise her that she will not pay that, period. That's not the way it's been done in practice recently until it came to my attention. It's come to my attention and I will be advising her accordingly, because she cannot, by law, pay that bill if the ordinance says you're not entitled to it. Now,
If you weren't there, you can't get paid. Is that what you just said?
correct.
Yeah, okay.
Currently, you're saying?
Currently.
That's what we have right now. That's the law that we have right now,
The law we have right now says you'll be there or you don't get paid.
or you don't get paid.
Yeah.
But we have been paying people that have not been there?
I found out that there have been a couple of instances that occurred, yes. That when that came to my attention, that's what speared all of this activity, because I told her she wasn't gonna do it anymore. I can't allow her to violate the law.
But, yeah, whether it's law or not, we ran for election knowing we were gonna get paid $600, knowing that we would have committee meetings and council meetings to attend. So attend them.
That's right, but if you're running for the $600 a month,
No.
you're money behind, Brad.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
You do these jobs for other reasons than the $600 a month.
I-
You do it for public service, you do it for the taxpayers, you do it for our constituents. That's why we're here. But that 600 is a token, I got a little bit on the school board, not 600, not close to 600, but,
Yeah.
so I mean, yeah.
And
But,
I don't care what the dollar amount is, but if you're supposed to be at a meeting, be at it if you're gonna take the money. Otherwise, deduct the money, which is the plan we have, that we voted on 6 years ago, whatever it was, I don't know when.
If you're elected to a position and that requires you to be at the meeting, then by golly, you should be at that meeting, period.
Yep.
No questions asked. Okay.
So when we're outside of budget season, and as of right now, we're calling 2 weeks out of the month optional.
That's what the change would be if this change
So would we
happens.
make that mandatory, or we just say,
It's making, it will be mandatory, according.
If we don't do anything,
Yep.
it is mandatory.
Yeah, correct.
the mayor could also say, we're only having 2 meetings,
I,
or 2 weeks. That's what I'm saying.
The mayor always has that authority to say no meeting.
Yeah.
What he doesn't have the authority to say is, there's gonna be a meeting, but you don't have to show up, 'cause even though you're assigned to that committee, you can't do that.
I don't know when that ever happened.
what's that?
I don't remember when that happened. I must be outside of, what?
I don't think it involved you, so.
Okay, that's why. I'm just at a loss. I don't know what's going on. I just like the way it had been working. And I didn't like the change that you made when we went away from some meetings. Councilman Clun and I talked about, it's like, we were elected to do a position and we're getting paid and we're not doing our job. I like committee meetings. I've said that over and over and over and over.
It was just, when the suggestion came, understand that a councilman's duties are to appropriate funds and have oversight on the expenditure of those funds. Their duties that typically, for those two duties, the time frame is April 1st through August 30th. We normally set the budget at the final retreat at the end of August. We will set that into ordinance the first meeting in September. At that point, the meetings from September through the end of March are oversight of the expenditure of those budget funds, and then ordinances in the city of Winter.
So can we get a brief clarification what yes or no means?
A yes vote would be to deny
The change.
the change of ordinance 1072 and leave it as is. The motion on the table is to deny, and a yes vote would deny that.
But also.
A yes vote supports his motion. You vote yes, you support his motion, which is to deny this.
That is
Correct.
correct.
Yes, that's correct, yeah.
That's all correct?
It is.
Okay.
But
I'm clear.
also, the mayor could say, we're not having any committee meetings.
I'd have to give you enough notification, at
But
least
you could.
24 hours, yes. I would have to let you know 24 hours. I think it's fair.
It'd be
to-
for the year. You say, we're not having committee meetings.
I'll never do that. You know
Oh,
that.
but you could.
Yeah, but I'll never do
Just
that.
for the point of discussion, Mr. Mayor.
Please.
We all need to understand that, and I might get this wrong, but any two councilmen can at any time call for a meeting. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
It takes two,
A
right?
committee meeting.
Special meeting of the council.
Of the council.
Okay. But what about calling a committee meeting? I'm asking that question.
No. I don't have anything in statute or in ordinance that gives two councilmen the ability to call a committee meeting. That's a statutory, and it's part of your ordinances to call it for a council meeting,
Okay, very good.
special meeting of the council. Yep.
Jody, I've told you this over and over. I liked how it was before and it worked well. When we put this in place, and there's reasons why we put this
I like
in
it.
place. And it worked, not the optional part, where it was, here's your schedule, you come to it. If you can't come, find somebody to fill in for you. You're giving them your paycheck because we're busy. We got things to do. There's a lot of times when there's just one of us here, and it takes two to properly go through and do what we need to do to get the work done, in my opinion.
No
last time we did change it was because of sick. We no longer were eligible if you called in sick for
Yeah.
that pay. We changed that in my last term.
Ultimately, what you changed was there was no such thing as an excused absence.
Correct.
And we had councilmen showing up sick to be here, which is fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine, that you guys can vote whichever direction you want. Understanding the duties of a councilman are not operational. It's the appropriation of the city taxpayer dollars to different projects that you go through the budget season of April through August appropriating for the residents. And then you have oversight of that budget, which is taking a look at the financial reports, and you have 100% control of the ordinances. I found council and saw council slipping down a very slippery slope already and trying to get involved in the operational decisions of the appointed officials and their supervisors. We'll just keep the council meetings short. I tend to hear the discussion and revisiting my thought process from 6 years ago, agree, you are elected, and we need to maintain that schedule that we have put in place back in 18. Now we just need to stick to our duties, get in, get it done, and move on. So I'm all right with a no vote, or a yes vote to deny this, knowing those responsibilities.
And we also need to at least, let me advise you on one other thing very quickly, and that is this. Because of the way that the motion has been presented to you, if you do not vote in favor of the denial of this, then somebody's going to need to make a follow-up motion.
Right.
If you do vote in favor of denying it, then we're done with that one and we can move on.
Parliamentary procedure, so tactical.
Correct.
All right, Councilman Schramm, to clarify the question one more time and what a yes vote means. The question is to deny first reading of ordinance 1072, which is council pay. A yes vote is a yes vote to deny this motion going on first reading. Okay? This time, does anybody want a roll call vote?
Yes.
Okay, I figured you would. So, Councilman Clay,
Yes.
Councilman Schramm, Councilman Klunt,
Yes.
Councilman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle,
Yeah.
Councilman
Aye.
Schuyler. I was going to say Justin Schuyler.
Aye.
The ayes have it. You have denied first reading of ordinance 1072 regarding council pay. Item number 7. Council, do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we enter into a transportation contract with Engel Trucking and have the mayor sign it. And that's our garbage haul up to the interstate.
Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Hockett has the motion. Councilman Clay with the second. The floor is open to comments or questions.
Has anything changed from the prior contract?
I'm sorry?
Does it say anything?
Dates.
But there's no changes. I saw no yellow in this, so there's no changes to it?
Correct.
Just the date.
Just like an extension?
It really is, you recall, and maybe you won't recall, but there was originally the contract, and then we did an addendum to get something in there that Mr. Engel wanted to include. That addendum is now written into the main contract. So if you compare the two documents, they look a little different, but they're exactly the
But
same.
we've already approved that addendum.
Correct.
So this has no changes to our existing agreement?
Correct, it just takes us into the next year.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, Chair is going to call the question by a roll call vote. The question is to enter into a transportation contract with Engel Trucking and have the mayor sign. Councilman Schramm,
Aye.
Councilman Klunt,
Yes.
Councilman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle,
Yeah.
Councilman Schuyler,
Aye.
and Councilman Clay.
Yes.
Ayes have it, and this motion carries. Item number 8, council, do you have a motion?
I'll make that motion that we enter a MOU with Trip County 24/7 program.
Second,
Memorandum of understanding with the county on this program here.
is there a second to this motion?
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Hockett has the motion, Councilman Schramm with the second. Floor is open to comments, questions, or point of information.
Sure.
I was at several meetings, this is what we agreed on. Yes. I mean, I haven't seen it till now, and I mean, we met with them, we've talked.
Yeah.
I just never seen it on paper, so seen if there was changes after we met with them.
Jeff and I had met with them quite a bit, so with Sean and his people, so yeah, this is kind of where everybody landed.
I hesitate to vote on memorandum of understanding with the county because not everyone we've entered into previously has been a good contract. But reading over this one, it seems just fine.
Councilman Schramm?
But, Mr. Mayor, yeah, I would appreciate in the future, the final document, just like Councilman Clunt just said. The committee has not seen this until Friday, when it came to us. In my uneducated opinion, the committee should have seen this MOU before and in committee, before being presented for a vote here.
I agree.
And I'm sorry, but
If the
We need to
calendar
keep
had
track.
allowed it, it would have happened that way.
pardon me?
If the calendar had room to do it that way,
Okay.
it would have been. This was the way things fell on the calendar. That last meeting just occurred a few days back, and we had a couple of days for me to be provided with the notes and draft this up.
Okay.
And the committee was already behind us.
Council, any other comments or questions? Hearing none. Chair will call the question by a roll call vote. The question is to enter into an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding with Tripp County with the 24/7 program. Councilman Clunt,
Yes.
Councilman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle,
Yes.
Councilman Schuyler,
Aye.
Councilman Clay,
Yes.
Councilman Schramm.
All right.
The ayes have it, and this motion will carry. Item number 9, council, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve the millennial millennial contract for recycling and have the mayor sign.
Is there a second to this motion?
Second.
Councilman Clay has the motion, Councilman Hockett the second. Floor is open to comments, questions, or point of information.
We have talked about this sucker till we're blue in the face.
That's right.
It is a very advantageous thing for the city to do.
Any other comments or questions?
When the markets head south, I believe we can still have the ability to move our product. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, basically what this contract does is, it's a guarantee from Millennium that they will take our recycled product and they'll give us fair market value for it. But if, in the instance of, say, a couple years ago when the COVID pandemic was going on, there was a lot of buyers for recycled products that shut down.
Yeah.
They would still guarantee that they'll take our recycled.
Hearing no further comment, Chair will call the question by a roll call vote. The question being approving the millennial contract for recycling and having the mayor sign. Councilman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle,
Yes.
Councilman Schuyler,
Aye.
Councilman Clay,
Yes.
Councilman Schramm,
All right.
Councilman Clunt.
Yes.
The ayes have it, and this motion will carry. Council, item number 10, do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2023-30 sanitation grant.
Is there a second to this motion?
I will second it.
Okay. Councilman Clunt has the motion, Councilman Clay the second. Floor is open to comment or question.
We've talked about this a fair bit, but I didn't see everything in the packet that's in the grant. Is it in here?
This is just an application.
That's the application, okay.
You have 3 items that were submitted for the grant for reimbursement. There is the $200,000 to the county. There is 2 recycle trailers of, one is $20,545, the other is $22,270, and then there's one for a truck. And we put in $160,000 for that based off of the information that the county received
So
off
we-
the Minnesota State bid.
Yeah, we haven't seen this. We talked about it. And there's things that we talked about that are not in here. Did you think we weren't able to apply for them? Because I wanted to talk about applying for, putting in the grant another Mini X for recycling trailers. Those are things that we talked about that I haven't seen the application. It's the application in here that I didn't see it. Is it in the packet?
The application is not in the packet. What's in
Okay.
the packet is just the quotes that I was provided with that were submitted to District 3 to write the application.
Which evidently doesn't include his extra things you just talked about.
Correct.
Okay.
So we're bound, if we got that grant, to buy the stuff we have quotes for, or can it be spent on another mini excavator?
You spend it the way you put it in the application.
And shudder to think you deny a grant that's been approved for you.
Right.
So, yeah, the answer to Jeremy's question is, we're not gonna get an excavator with this particular grant if we send it in this way. Want to change it?
I haven't seen it.
You're on the committee.
I haven't
You want to
seen it.
change the application? I mean,
I haven't seen it.
not apply this?
So
We
your
had a conversation
resolution
about it in
doesn't,
committee and I have not seen the application.
your resolution only allows you to apply for it. It is not the application in and of itself. I have not even seen the full application at
To
this point in
clarify
time.
your comment, the resolution, you're allowing us to actually apply for the grants, not these specific items yet. These items were included with the resolution, but that is not your final grant application where you can add your 4 recycling trailers, the Mini X. We do have a street and sanitation committee coming up next Monday, and we can go through that list and you can ask that those items be placed on that grant application. This resolution, and Mr. Jensen, correct me if I'm wrong at this point, this is just approving that we are able, with this resolution, to go forward with
But this
the-
resolution says, of the proposed recycling operation improvements.
We haven't proposed.
These items,
There were others proposed.
these are the proposed.
But, right, I see these, there's only 2 in here and we talked about 4.
We haven't submitted them yet.
But why are they in the it's really misleading how it's presented in the packet and
What's
the
the
way it's
deadline for
worded
the
on here.
for sending this in?
Mid-January.
I can tell you it's not March.
Table.
So we have to have the resolution now. We have a
Okay,
deadline
today.
to do the resolution so that it allows us to get the application going. The application is not due to the state until January. So if we need to adjust the application, that's
But
fine.
then it comes back to us and says, but you guys approved it. It got sent in, you approved it. Well, we don't know what's in it. I hate approving things when we don't know what's in it.
Jeremy, the only.
I understand what you're saying, yeah, we're approving, saying, yes, you can apply for it.
That's
But
all
it
it
will
is.
come back, and it has came back, and said, you guys approved it. You guys approved the authorization, sent it in, we sent it in.
So the only reason I included the quotes in there is because the committee said, will you give us a list? And this is the list that was provided to me, and so that's what I gave you.
But it can be added to, subtracted from, or changed
Of
up
course.
till the time we submit it.
So when I provided that list to Shannon, I went off DANR's recommendations, and you're referring to the mini excavator. The transfer station is currently operating. The grant's purpose is to ask for things that we don't currently have. The state's gonna look at this and say, you currently have a recycling center. You currently are doing this, you are currently doing that. You are operating
This is the wording they told us.
under what you have right now.
Gentlemen, your conversation
The
needs to be
state wants
public.
apply for things that we don't currently have to do our operation. If that makes sense.
I hear what you're saying, and it still goes back to why I have a red ass, and yes, I'll say a red ass about this whole thing, is because the way the grant application was handled before, we had no idea. Somebody in the great state of South Dakota knew that the large amount of allocated funds for this grant was gonna be in January, not in March or whatever the date was. I didn't know that. I would hope the city of Winter didn't know that. Because now we're into this and we're operating and we've already done this, this, and this, and this, and now we can't apply for them. I've been told that we can't backdate them because we already have. No, you know what I mean, not backdate, but we purchased these things under the good faith and the allocation that, hey, there was gonna be a grant for it to operate, and we are operating, and it's working. It is. When you're going for a grant, trying to be a little greedy. But we're trying to do these things for the betterment of the nation, the city of Winter, the county, everything. I digress.
Other comments? Hearing none, Chair will call the question. It will be a roll call vote. The question is approving Resolution 2023-30, the sanitation grant. Councilman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle.
Yeah.
Councilman Schuyler.
Aye.
Councilman Clay.
Yes.
Councilman Schramm.
Aye.
Councilman Clunt.
Yes.
The ayes have it. This motion carries. Item number 11, council, do you have a motion?
Make a motion to close out the ARPA checking account, $510,708.95 due to using all funds for the highway project.
Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second that.
Councilman Clunt has the motion, Councilman Sprinkle the second. Floor is open to comments, questions, or point of information.
So in 2020, one of the things that we were able to do was receive ARPA money. We received a total of $510,708.95 specifically for water infrastructure upgrades. When we received that, we had to put it into a non-interest bearing account because you cannot receive money on grants. Or receive interest on grants. And so because they gave it to us beforehand, typically grants are reimbursement, this one was not. They gave us the money up front, they trusted we would not earn interest. So we put it in a separate non-interest bearing account. We have expended all of these funds on the highway project, there is none left. And rather than carry this over into the new year, let's close it out and start 2024 without this extra account to keep track of. I know we talked about it in Finance Committee, that I would be bringing it forward for this to happen, so,
But this money is already accounted for, like it's cash on hand
yeah, it's already
in
spent.
the water
Yep.
department right now?
Yep.
It's already spent, it's gone. I thought maybe we could split that among the 6 members of the city council.
Oh, wow.
We don't have to go to any meetings. Just get them on.
About half the big ones.
Mr. Graham, I don't want to end up in federal court.
Comments or questions? Hearing none further, Chair will call the question by a roll call vote. The question is to close out the ARPA checking account of $510,708.95 due to using all the funds for the highway project. Councilman Sprinkle.
Yes.
Councilman Schuyler.
Aye.
Councilman Clay.
Yes.
Councilman Schramm. Councilman Clunt.
Yes.
And Councilman Hockett.
Aye.
The ayes have it. This motion carries. Item number 12, council. Do you have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to surplus for bid the 3 electronic transformers as scrap.
Second to this motion?
I'll second that.
Councilman Clay has a motion, Councilman Sprinkle with the second. Floor is open to comments or questions. Hearing none, Chair will call the question by a roll call vote. The question being to surplus for bid 3 electric transformers as scrap. Councilman Schuyler.
Aye.
Councilman Clay.
Yes.
Councilman Schramm. Councilman Clunt.
Yes.
Councilman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle.
Yes.
Ayes have it, and this motion carries. Item number 13, council, do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to close out the 2022 airport maintenance project, AIP 346-0061-021-2024, have the mayor sign it.
Very good. Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second it.
Councilman Clunt has the motion, Councilman Clay the second. Floor is open to comment, questions, or point of information.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this was the 2022 airport pavement maintenance project. It did not get fully completed in 2022 due to needing to, I'm not a construction worker, spread some grass, essentially, and make sure that the concrete's set. Would that be correct, Mr. Howard?
Seating.
Seeding. So that was done the next year. Now that they've made sure the grass is growing, the concrete looks right, Helms and the SDDOT is asking for the city of Winter to close out the project. And we've received all reimbursements from the state on it as well.
Council, do you have questions? All right, hearing and seeing none, Chair will call the question by a roll call vote. The question being, close out 2022 airport maintenance project AIP 3-46-0061-021-2024 and have the mayor sign. Councilman Clay.
Yes.
Councilman Schramm.
Aye.
Councilman Clunt.
Yes.
Councilman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle.
Yes.
And Councilman Schuyler.
Aye.
Council, ayes have it, this motion carries. Item number 14. Council, do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to transfer $3,600 from contingency to attorney personal services, $2,000 from contingency to finance personnel services, transfer $100 from contingency to election.
Is there a second to this motion?
Second.
Councilman Clunt has the motion, Councilman Clay the second. Floor is open to comment or question.
Hope none of this happens next year because we have no contingency fund. Statement.
Yeah. If you'll remember, attorney and finance both asked for contingency funds at the beginning of the year, knowing that their personal services would be more than what was budgeted for. Didn't need the full amount that we had requested. We were able to cut some numbers in some other places. So this is what, in looking at the final numbers as to what each account will need. So those were talked about in committee. The election was not talked about in committee, but I think that council was aware that it could potentially go over what was remaining. It's technically $57, I think that it's over. I round round up to the nearest hundredth when I ask for these. There's over 17,000 remaining in your contingency right now, so you're not even using it all up. But that is the most I have ever seen used in a contingency in the city of Winter. So
There is 2 weeks left of the year.
there are no more, I'm not
Sure
writing any
somebody will
more
come and
checks.
ask for 17,000.
As long as we don't call a special meeting.
Right.
Correct.
People.
Any other comments or questions, council? Hearing none, chair will call the question by a roll call vote. The question is to transfer $3,600 from contingency to attorney personal services, $2,000 from contingency to finance personal services, and $100 from contingency to election. Councilman Schramm?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Yes.
Councilman Hockett?
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle?
Yes.
Councilman Schuyler?
Aye.
Councilman Clay?
Yes.
Ayes have it. Council, this motion carries. Item 15, council, do you have a motion?
Make a motion to pay the claims.
I'll second that.
Councilman Hockett with the motion, Councilman Schuyler with the second. Floor is open to comment or question.
Mr. Mayor, in reviewing all of the claims in front of you, there's $40,850 for Macomb Pacific. That is the emergency folks that came in and repaired the sewer lines over on 3rd and 4th. $5,478 for Snowblade for the skid loader. There was a quote sheet provided for that. Stuart Irby, $67,786.32. That was for, I believe, wire from Stuart Irby, and quotes were received for that as well. Inmate meals, those are, and then monthly tipping feeds, those are all on contract, so everything meets what's required for the over 4,000.
Council, any questions? Hearing none. Chair calls the question, which is paying the claims for the city of Winter. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Council, you have a motion. That carries.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to increase the wages of Clint Sinclair in communications to $22.99, to increase the wages of Ashley Mosman in communications to $21.74, and to increase the wages of Dennis Holtus in corrections to $21.65. This is to add 25 cents an hour to their wage for removing the permanent shift grandfather clause.
Is there a second to this motion? Councilman Schramm with the motion, Councilman Hockett with the second on item 16. Floor is open to comment or questions. Hearing and seeing none, Chair will call the question, and this needs to be a roll call vote. And the question is to approve wage increases in the amount of, or a motion to approve the wage increase of Clint Singular in communications to $22.99 an hour, Ashley Mosman in communications to $21.74 an hour, and Dennis Holthus in corrections to $21.65 an hour. This adding 25 cents an hour to their wages for removing permanent shift grandfather clause. Let's see, Councilman Schramm, your vote.
All right.
Councilman Clement?
Yes.
It doesn't
Councilman?
need to be roll call.
Yes, we both agreed it does.
Yes.
You're increasing money, expenditures, financial.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Councilman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle.
Yes.
Councilman Schuyler. Councilman Clay.
Yes.
The ayes have it. This motion carries. The ayes have it. That concludes new business. I believe we do have one executive session, and that's per SDCL 1-25-2, subsection 3, correct? 3. Yes. Council, do you have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make that motion.
Or would you like to wait and take a break and come back?
Let's take a quick break.
Quick break. Okay. All right, gentlemen, council, we will resume back here at 8:25 PM.